Good afternoon, students, and welcome to the online class of history. Myself, Ananya Bhattacharjee. So, today I'll be discussing about two topics. First of all, I will explain you the limitations of inscriptional evidence or the problems faced by epigraphists, and the another one that I'm going to explain about Kanishka, the ruler of Kushan dynasty, the founder of Kushan dynasty. Okay, so if you seen my previous videos, you have already seen that I have already explained you your what is inscriptions, what is coins, what is monuments. If you go through it, you will easily understand. So I am not going to take much time to explain the meaning of all this. But I will tell you one thing or one a simple example or not example, a simple definition of inscription. Inscriptions generally means the things, what to say in very simple word, where means inscribed on something, basically inscribed on something, or in Bengali we can say যে কোনো জিনিসের উপর যেগুলো খোদাই করে লেখা হয়, এটা হোক এটা মেরেই হোক বা খোদাই করে কোনো কিছু একটা লেখা হয়, এটা যে কোনো বস্তুর উপরে হতে পারে, যেটা হতে পারে ওয়াল, হতে পারে কোনো মেটাল, হতে পারে, ঠিক আছে, পাথরের উপরেও হতে পারে। ওকে, তো you've understood what I'm trying to explain you, the meaning of inscription. Inscription basically means inscribed on something. It's inscribed on wall, then caves, then stone, metals. And what is basically written on inscriptions? It is basically the informations are given, okay, about land grants or land donations. It is basically written there. If the king donated a part of land to the farmers or to the peasants, he just write it there, the date, whom did he donate it, when, means all these informations are written on the inscription, and it can be considered or regarded as an authentic information. Because I have already explained, if you've seen my previous videos, I have already tried to make your points clear about the archaeological sources. So here I have explained, explained in a detailed way. So please, you go through my previous videos, here you can understand my points. Okay, so I will tell you about the limitations of inscriptional evidence. Okay, what are the limitations, or if there are no if they can't understand what is written there, then what kind of problems they are going to face by the epigraphist. So I have already told that what is epigraphist. Epigraphist basically means those who study inscriptions. Okay, and how inscriptions can be studied, I have already told there, and here I've explained you how they take out the prints and how they translate it. It's a huge and long process. Okay, so those who can study the inscriptions, the study of inscriptions is called epigraphy, and those who can study the inscriptions, they are known as but they are called as epigraphist. Okay, so without getting further delay, I will just jump on to the main topic, that is the limitations of inscriptional evidence. So see, I will explain in a very simple way, or I will just highlight the points. If you go through your books, you can easily able to understand the main points. Okay, my task is to make your points clear in a very simple way, because if I start explaining in a detailed way, first of all you will get bored, and second of all you can't understand. Okay, so my task is to make your points clear and in a simple way. So the first point, that is, sometimes the words are engraved in a very light colors, and it is very hard to decipher them. Okay, first point. Second point, sometimes the inscriptions are damaged. Many words are lost due to their damage. Third one, it is always not easy to find out the real meaning of the inscriptions. Sometimes the things are stated in relevance to a particular situation or time. Next point, thousands of inscriptions have been found, but not all of them can be translated or understood. Next point, there might be many more inscriptions. It is possible that many of them would have been damaged. These inscriptions which are available may be a part of many more which have already been damaged. Next point, there is another basic problem. What is important today, both politically and economically, may not have been mentioned in the inscriptions. For examples, the inscriptions do not refer to agriculture and the joys or sorrows of daily life. They describe only special and grand occasions. And the last point, the inscription reflect the views of those who write them. So we must critically analyze all the inscriptions to find out the ultimate truth. Okay, I have just simply made you understand those points. Please go through it and then you please take out your books and you read this. Then you can able to understand those points. And if you can't understand, then I am here for you. You please ask me again and again. Okay. Now I will explain the next topic that I told. That is about Kanishka. Look, Kanishka, he was the founder of Kushan dynasty. He was very brave soldier, a great patron of art and great propagandist of religion. Okay, he propagated Buddhism, patronized different arts and gave important place to Kushan dynasty in history. Now, I will make his achievements in a very simple points. Okay, so first point I am going to explain, that is great conqueror. He is a great conqueror. See, Kanishka was a great conqueror. He greatly expanded his empire which he got from his ancestors. Chinese victory was known as his greatest victory. The next point, successful administrator. Kanishka was a successful administrator. Whole of the authority of state was in the hands of the king himself. Empire was divided into many provinces. Head of the province was known as Kshatrap. We can imagine about the success of Kanishka as a ruler by the fact that not even a single time any revolt took place in his empire. Next point, that is lover of art. Kanishka was a great lover of art. He founded 4 new cities and decorate these cities with pillars and sculptures. Gandhara art form was developed under his patronage. Sculpture of Buddha were made with Greek art form. Chaitya of Peshawar, made by Kanishka, is the finest example of art form. Next point, lover of literature. Kanishka was a great patron of scholars and literary persons. Ashvaghosha, Vashumitra, Nagarjuna were great scholars in his court. You have to remember those names, okay, the scholars of those names. Then the last point, religious preacher. One of the main features of his character was his religious aspect. He spread Buddhism to different parts of the world. He founded many monasteries and gave economic help to monks. He called 4th Conference of Buddhism and introduced necessary reforms in Buddhism. Mahayana sect of Buddhism came into being under his or during his age. Okay, so that's much. I have just highlight some important points. Now your task or your duty is to just open your book and go through such portions and just open the video which I have tried to explain you. Just open it and just listen and just mark it in your book. then you can easily able to understand. Or if you can't understand, then again I am repeating you, please ask me if you can't understand any of those points which I try to explain in a very simple way. Okay, now that's much. Now here I am ending your class today. Okay.